Hello everybody. It is still Wednesday. I forgot the date. 16th of March. I want to try to make a second video today because there's another thought piling up at the moment and I want to get this one out of the way before, so to leave me free to go further, and I don't want to leave too many gaps in my videos, in my trail of thought. So, and this is really more geopolitical. It is more what we can see in the forms here, the outcome that has been created by thoughts and by emotions in us, but the outcome that we can see in the picture. And I was yesterday listening to a German channel, which is News TV, and it is Michael Moss, and he was talking to Mark Faber about the Great Reset. And that is what I want to think about, what this Great Reset actually is. So we'll start with this. And Michael Moss said the Great Reset is, and in the end, it is a reset in thinking. That is the overall thing. Our thinking is to be changed as to how we see ourselves in this world, a new perception. And out of that perception, we will do things differently. We will create a new world. So that is the Great Reset. Now, Michael said, it's the Great Reset that the whole thing is shifting from America to China, Russia. You know, there's this shift in power from one country to one or two other countries that take over economically, politically, in every way. And Mark Faber, in the first instance, says to him the Great Reset is a shift in perception that we have about the people that are ruling over us. And that is the shift in perception that they are not working for us. They are not working for our benefit. That we're starting to see that. And to me, it is not a question of is it one thing or the other. They are both part of the same process. And it is what Mark Faber said, that we look at our politicians, a lot of us, not all of us, there's still those that follow blindly and believe that what is done in their name is actually for them, which it's not. But so some of us are on that path, a reset in our thinking about our politicians. But of course the other thing is happening at the same time. But if we are on that path of rethinking our esteemed leaders, and we see they are not doing what is in our interest, then we should ask the next question, and that is, who are they working for? What we can see at the moment is they are working for themselves. We can see cronyism, we can see corruption, we can see wealth being sucked out of the economies, out of our lives, and being distributed amongst the few. Yeah? That is allowed to happen. That is their payment. That is their reward for serving something even greater than that. And then we come to the second part, the Great Reset of China, Russia taking over, becoming the world leaders. And and in that there will come a great reset in thinking. And then again, we bring it back to the book of Revelation just for this moment. Bring it back to that book because that is what it is talking about. Yeah? So, how is this to be achieved? Out of great tribulation. They are creating a tribulation. Financially, economically, war, and as I said before, the riders of the apocalypse. If you have war, it's followed by famine, by pestilence, by death. So, and it is the way, and again there's something that's being talked about at the moment, the way of the butterfly. The complete disintegration of the entire form, which is disintegrating around us at the moment. Anything that sustained us is going belly up. To bring out a completely new form in the end. And that is and then in the book of Revelation, this new form is coming and it is putting us under the rod of iron. That means it is indoctrinating us. It is beating us into thinking their own way, accepting their way. That is what that kingdom does. It is beating you into compliance. Until we all think the same, and then we're all going to be happy. It's going to be painful to get there, but once we all think the same, we're going to be very happy. So that is what is to happen. And seeds have been laid before in our heads, and Jesus was instrumental in that. And he is talking about that kingdom coming and saying you should not ask for yourself. So, we're being shown at the moment how for myself is so evil, which it is. It is too much. Everything for myself. It is everything for myself that is evil. So now we're being sheep-herded into nothing for myself. And don't stop in the middle thinking that you might need something. Of course, Jesus thought about that. You need something. So you're asking something in the prayer that he gave you, in the Lord's Prayer. Think about that. What is it you're asking for? Give us today our daily bread and forgive us our sin. So what is sin? Sin is that which works against God. God's intention is to rule over you. It is the intention to rule over you. Some in this world have become the embodiment of that intention. So sin is that which goes up against it. So you ask, basically you're asking, feed me, keep me alive, and if God forbid, I should have a thought for myself, that goes against you ruling over me, then please forgive me, don't behead me. So that's what you're hoping for out of that kingdom. That's what you're asking for. To be fed and not to be punished. I don't know if you're aiming a little bit low there in your aspirations for yourself. So again, how are we getting there? Let's just look at that. How are we getting there? At the moment, it looks like that kingdom is going to be China. For now. Again, it could be that China, again, in laying the groundworks, the system of total control and, us becoming really obedient and happy in it. That again could be laying the ground rules for something bigger to come. It's possible. Actually, in the book of Revelation something bigger is coming. But okay, so it's China. So how do we get to China ruling us? And I'm talking now mostly about Europe, because we are well on the way. And we're doing it. Divide and conquer. We're doing it. We are pushing out our brother. We are pushing out Russia. I was talking to my sister, and she is like already in the thinking of all the others. Oh, the Russians are completely different from us. They're not like us. Yeah? And, well, okay, from a German perspective, a Russian is very different. So is an Italian. So is a Spaniard. So are the Turks. Yeah? And Turkish people have been living in Germany now in great numbers for the duration of my generation anyway. And they are very different from Germans. I mean, and it's not helped by having a different religion. And it has not always been pretty, this living together. There have been ruptures here and there. But on a whole, they managed. Yeah? So to say, we cannot be friends with Russia because they are nothing like us. That's not true. And historically, Russia had been part of Europe. We still have, even now, cultural, well, not at the moment because they've been cancelled, but we had cultural exchanges, with the Russians, music, dance, and other things. So we are culturally not that incompatible. And I would say a Russian is no more different from a German than an Italian or Spaniard. So you can get on with them, but can't you get on with, But we are being told to push them out. They're evil. Russia bad. Bad, bad, bad. Let's get rid of them. We're pushing them toward China. And China will use Russia as a gateway into Europe. We are building a door for China to come in. That's what we're doing. So how? And here again, we're coming back to the start, where Mark Faber said, we're waking up to the point that our politicians are not serving us. So what are they serving? And what allows them to get all the riches, all the plunder? As long as they're doing as they're told, they can have the plunder. Well, look at our politicians, American politicians even more so. Who are they serving? Hillary Clinton, who was she serving? Where did all the information out of her toilet servers go to? Where did that go to? At the moment, China seems to be standing back and doing nothing. It remains neutral. It's not really getting involved in this thing. It's happening in Europe and all over the world, but China is apparently not involved. China has got its minions doing the work for it, and those minions are not Chinese. They are of us. And it is those minions that are pushing Russia out, pushing our brother toward our enemy. Russia is not our enemy. I mean, what Putin said, it's okay if you don't want to be our friend, but you don't have to make us an enemy. So that's where we're going. And then if there is full-on war in Europe, then China will come in to save us. They're saying, well, we stood back, we had nothing to do with it, but here, now that you need our help, well, if there is a full-on war, I don't know. I mean, economically, we're bringing ourselves to our knees with our own sanctions. I mean, we are tearing this thing down around us. We are self-destructing. And then they will come in to save us. And there will be a great reset, because the Chinese are now culturally in any other way nothing like us. They are very, very different from us. And there will be a great rethink about how we see ourselves. We will go into re-education. You know? So that's what's happening at the moment, as far as I can see. And the only way out of this for Europe, now from a European, from where I am standing now, from a European perspective, is bring our brother home. Bring Russia back into Europe. Russia is not the enemy. They may be a bit different from us, they may think a bit different from us, but we all, I mean, a Frenchman is not like a German, it's not like a Swede, it's not like a Finn. I mean, the Swedes and the Finns, they live right next to each other, in the same environment, more or less, you know. And they're still different from each other. And they still manage not to be at war with each other. So, bring Russia home. That's what we need to do. And tell the rest to go and whatever. That's how I'm seeing it. Right. So I leave it at this, because I thought there was a greater thought in all of this. And that is that as I said in the video before, we've been given perceptions of good and bad. Yeah? Which are not true, because they don't serve life. They're not true. And as I said, Jesus was instrumental in sowing one of these seeds anyway. But the real thing that I want to think about now, and hopefully I'll come to a conclusion to what is actually going on there. I was thinking about the Ark of the Covenant. And here's the thing, what is the Ark of the Covenant? It contains the Ten Commandments. It contains the law of our conscience, our knowledge of good and evil. That is us. Things you should and shouldn't do to each other. And when they were laid into the ark, they somehow became a weapon. Somehow the law of our conscience, our knowledge of good and evil, was used as a weapon of mass destruction against us. And that is what I need to think about. Because that is what is happening. We're being messed with as to our knowledge of good and evil, to a point where our own knowledge has been turned against us as a weapon of mass destruction. And I really need to come to the bottom of how that is possible, because that's what's being done. Anyway, I leave it at this, and I talk to you again soon. Right? Bye.